Hey, it's me, Big P, and we're here with a couple of juicy updates for my Incinerate Volatile Dead Necromancer. It's pretty similar to how I have it set up before, but I've kind of really streamlined the gem setups and how we're kind of min-maxing the Necromancer as a caster build. We did get the Uber Lab, and we're now using Mistress of Sacrifice. I'm basically going to go over this build, assuming that you've seen my way longer video about this build while I was mapping with it at early levels. But for those of you who haven't, basically the engine of the build, let's say, is Plaguebringer and Corpse Pact. Basically, the way that these work is that you want to be generating and consuming corpses as much as you can, generating them yourself to get Corpse Pact to chill and shock and increase the maximum life of the corpses that are made, which are kind of important for Volatile Dead, and just consume them yourself as well by using Volatile Dead. Essence Glutton is a bit of sustain in terms of mana and energy shield, and Mistress of Sacrifice has really nicely fit into kind of this like uber guard skill that we're working with. This is the engine and this is the fuel right here. In my wand setup, we have the cast when damage taken, desecrate, spell cascade. So we want to be making corpses as much as possible, and we do that by casting as much damage as casting the desecrate as much as we can with Scold's bridle. I did get a fevered mind because I wanted to pretty much immediately start generating corpses when I was casting spells. But anyway, let's get into, this is the highest map I have. I've kind of been lazily leveling since there's a lot of tinkering and moving parts. We have swapped over to Discipline, Herald of Ash, and a self-cast Temporal Change. Not self-cast, Blasphemy Temp Chains. I figured that the build was doing pretty well in terms of damage and just needed a bit more mitigation, and the nature of a self-cast Incinerate build where you're not immediately doing your strongest damage as you shield charge into a pack. Figured that something simple like Temporal Chains would just help to keep us alive. And speaking of keeping us alive, now that I've completed my Uber Lab, why don't you take a look at my energy shield there. My values in the hideout were something like 2,000 something. Now keep in mind, we're still doing self-damage with the Scold's bridle, but between the spell damage leached as energy shield on the tree, we're actually going to skip the bite encounter just for brevity's sake here. We pretty much are never in any trouble, and I'm actually going to really try and face tank and prove me wrong. But ever since I swapped over to this higher cast when damage taken setup as a guard skill, which consists of Immortal Call and Spirit Offering, I've been struggling to find something that can kill me. Let's just put it that way. Which is really, really nice. It's very interesting how we've been allowed to sort of create this Necromancer archetype. So here's two bosses, and let's just stand still and tank it. A little bit of damage there, a couple spikes, but I mean the life pool itself never really got that low. It's probably because we're using, this is the lowest level of cast when damage taken is, because this is the fuel. We want this to be coming out all the time very quickly, because not only are we consuming the corpses via Volatile Dead, but Spirit Offering consumes pretty much as many corpses as it can, which is available in its area. This includes corpses that happen in the map naturally and corpses that we're creating with Desecrate. And so we want this to trigger, but not so often that you kind of nullify the, I don't know how these cooldowns are separate. There's going to be some min-maxing in terms of like breakpoints with minimum, cast when damage taken, stuff like that. But something to note is that the spirit offering itself, when it consumes a bunch, is really huge for the 2% increased attack and cast speed for each corpse consumed recently. It's just like a huge jet up into the build. Not to mention it gives us nearly 1,000 plus flat energy shield. Spirit offering is very interesting in that the physical damage is extra chaos damage we're kind of using because we have some physical damage to spells, but not really. We might be able to make better use of that as I min-max the build, but really the biggest thing is 4% of maximum life as extra maximum energy shield. I guess we get 3% because it's we get reduced effect of the offering, but it's kind of insane to have this setup. We can do a very high level immortal call. I guess another one of the upgrades I should mention is I started buying some intuitive leaps and corrupting them. Got corrupted blood cannot be inflicted, which is pretty amazing, and got overcharge, so that we moved out of that Herald of Thunder, curse on hit, poacher's mark setup to generate frenzy charges. Now we just use this. It also saves us a bit here. Kind of just very similar tree. Kind of went in and out of sovereignty, although the way the build is right now, if I'm not near a corpse and I start casting, I mean, not really, you pretty much immediately start casting it now. It was when my mana costs were a bit lower, but with the higher mana costs now, Scold's Bridle and Fevered Mind are pretty much generating corpses as fast as I really want them to. Let's see if we can get some. Yeah, see, so there's a little bit of clunkiness, but that's quickly is fixed in a vacuum. The build effectively will never run out of mana. I guess on that note, we are also out of Mind Over Matter. I will update you guys with the tree. What else have we done? So Esh's Mirror I just picked up because I started to want some like more flat damage on the build, and we shock pretty much every enemy that we're near, so this adds up very quick. Kind of just lends itself to a mapping setup. For like longer phase bosses without ads, we're probably going to have a separate setup that is more consistent, because this is kind of spiky, but the build itself is kind of spiky and is a very fast mapper. We do get to take advantage of elemental penetration that is on the spells via the Shroud of the Lightless that I purchased, because we're already kind of stacking Abyss Jewels in a bubonic trailway. I figured this would be kind of a nice middle grade pickup. Simple 5 link, I didn't really have to, I mean it's a 6 link because of the elemental penetration, and we get to use the fire and lightning pen of it. Pretty nice. Belt's pretty solid. We swapped over to the generic increased damage, which I don't know if these increased damage things double dip because we have spiritual aid. I don't think so, but I mean damage is damage, you know. We can really start to push it in terms of that now that we have a pretty respectable, almost 5k life, that's like barely being touched because of the way our energy shield works. Obviously chaos damage is a concern, but otherwise the build is kind of just blasting off in a super fun way. It is like I'm just tearing through maps. I'm struggling to get maps that are high enough tier to challenge me. I was able to start clearing blighted maps with the build. And, oh, I guess I should mention I got some upgrades to my rings here. I was going to try and use Aspect of the Crab, but the crab barriers, every single instance of damage that is being taken while I'm channeling cancels it, so you cannot use this. So this will be replaced probably pretty soon. And these as well. The rings are probably where I can really make the next big steps up. I was using Wise Oak, but then I swapped over to Esh's Mirror. That kind of messed with my resistances. Could still use it, but Edziri's Promise is always nice. Another big thing is that we have fire damage leads his life. I found this in a delve, and I've also anointed Quick Step on it, which is just a bit of move speed and attack speed, I believe. It's all the way down here. Yeah, attack speed and move speed. So that's just like kind of, you can do that cheaply with oils. That's 2 amber and 1 verdant, I believe. And yeah, so that's about it. If you have any more questions about what my setup is, I think everything should be the same. This is just faster attack, shield charge, flame dash, faster casting. We got our auras in here. This is the super guard skill between Immortal Call, which we can now effectively use because of endurance charges just kind of being around. It's not that important because Spirit Offering is just so much chunk chunks of energy shield just being fed into the build. It's amazing. Temp Chains, Blasphemy. Oh, Val Righteous Fire. I didn't mention that. I don't even know if I used that on the boss there. Maybe I did. It's just kind of the de facto like turbo button on the damage for a spell build. And again, Volatile, Dead, Incinerate, Cast while Channeling, Combustion, and Controlled Destruction. Ooh, I should quality that. I'm kind of do the lazy man. Vendor it with the Gem Cutter's Prism to max out my skills there. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm excited to keep pushing this build. Hopefully by next weekend we'll even be able to maybe do some like really serious bossing. Yeah, I guess it really depends on how consistently I can generate corpses and consume them. So we'll see as it goes on. I think maybe looking forward, we can replace this with a Devouring Diadem, go Eldritch Battery, and maybe go Shimmerons. I know there's a lot of things that we can try, but for now we need to spend mana, so we're just kind of just rocking it with the setup here, and it's just pretty simple and fast, and just looks amazing. So yeah, take it easy. Good luck with Blight. I love the league very much. I hope it gets like really fine-tuned because I want to start getting into some of the blighted maps. Kind of scared to run them because they keep crashing, but let me know if you've been able to complete any blighted maps yourself, or if you have any tips for not totally frying your computer with the new league mechanic. Okay, bye.